Did you know that in 2023 alone, Disney's film division reportedly lost over $1 billion on just 8 movies? That wasn't just a bad year. That was a financial catastrophe for a company that once seemed untouchable. For decades, the Disney logo was the gold standard, a literal license to print money. But today, the Mouse House is bleeding cash, and the magic is fading fast. From a plummeting stock price to empty seats in theaters, the Magic Kingdom is facing its darkest era since the 1980s. But this wasn't an accident, and it wasn't a stroke of bad luck. It was the result of a perfect storm. Corporate ego, expensive gambles, and a rapidly changing world that Disney failed to predict. To understand how the world's most powerful media empire began to crumble, we have to look past the fairy tales and into the cold, hard math of a failing strategy. Welcome to The Money Myth. Today, we're deconstructing the fall of an empire. To understand Disney's current crisis, we have to go back to 2019. This was the year Disney decided to go for the throat. In a massive $71 billion deal, Disney acquired 21st Century Fox. At the time, it looked like a masterstroke. They gained the X-Men, Avatar, and a massive library to fuel their upcoming streaming service. But as we often discuss here on the channel, debt is a double-edged sword. This deal saddled Disney with an enormous mountain of debt just as the global economy was about to head into a pandemic. More importantly, it changed the culture of the company. Disney went from being a creator of original magic to a massive bloated conglomerate that had to feed a never-ending hunger for content. They didn't just buy a studio. They bought a massive overhead of thousands of employees and dozens of sub-brands that required every single movie to be a billion-dollar hit, just to keep the lights on. The margin for error completely disappeared. Then came Disney Plus. On paper, it was a genius move. Cut out the middleman, take your library directly to the fans, and kill Netflix in the process. But Disney Plus quickly turned from a dream into a nightmare. In the rush to gain subscribers and please Wall Street, Disney spent billions on original content that often lacked the quality fans expected. They also made a fatal strategic error. They trained their audience to stay home. By releasing massive blockbusters on the app almost immediately after their theatrical debut, they devalued the cinema experience. Why take a family of 4 to the theater for $100 when you can watch the same movie on an app you already pay for just weeks later? This destroyed the event nature of Disney movies. While Disney Plus finally reached profitability in late 2024, it came at a staggering cost. The service has lost over $11 billion since its inception. They traded guaranteed box office billions for monthly subscription pennies. Behind the scenes, the financial bleeding was exacerbated by a civil war in the executive offices. When longtime CEO Bob Iger stepped down in 2020, he handed the keys to Bob Chapek. What followed was a disaster in corporate leadership. Chapek, a man known for his cost-cutting in the parks, lacked the creative touch that Disney's legendary animators and directors respected. The two Bobs clashed over everything, from the company's organizational structure to its public image. This leadership vacuum led to a series of PR blunders, most notably the high-profile legal battle with Scarlett Johansson over the release of Black Widow. It sent a message to the entire industry. Disney was no longer talent-friendly. By the time Iger returned as the returning hero in late 2022, the damage was done. The company was divided, the creative momentum had stalled, and the debt was mounting. While the movies were struggling, Disney's real bank was quietly dying. For decades, Disney relied on cable television, specifically ESPN, to fund their big-budget risks. Every person with a cable subscription was paying Disney a fee, whether they watched sports or not. It was a hidden tax that kept the company afloat. But the cord-cutting revolution changed everything. As millions of people canceled cable, Disney's guaranteed monthly revenue began to evaporate. By late 2025, linear network revenue continued to slide as viewership hit record lows. This hidden financial crisis meant that when the movies started failing, there was no safety net left to catch them. Disney is now forced to pivot to a direct-to-consumer flagship ESPN app, but the easy money of the cable era is gone forever. In an effort to keep Disney Plus stocked, Disney pushed Marvel and Star Wars into overdrive. We went from 1 or 2 Marvel movies a year to a constant stream of shows and spin-offs. This created what experts call franchise fatigue. The specialness of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was replaced by a feeling of homework. You couldn't watch the new movie without watching 3 TV shows first. The visual effects began to suffer because the studios were overworked, and the fans noticed. This quantity over quality mandate even hurt Pixar. Once the crown jewel of animation, Pixar was used as a sacrificial lamb for Disney+. By pushing films like Soul, Luca, and Turning Red directly to streaming, Disney told the audience that these movies weren't theater-worthy. It shattered Pixar's brand as a premium cinematic experience. Even with the success of Inside Out 2, the studio is still struggling to reclaim the consistent prestige it held for 20 years. We also have to talk about the cultural shift. Disney has found itself in the middle of a political tug-of-war, alienating segments of its audience. Whether it's battles with state governments or controversies over content, the brand has lost its status as a neutral family safe haven. This loss of cultural resonance shows up in the most important place of all, the toy aisle. Historically, Disney didn't just make money at the box office, they made it in merchandise. But as the new characters failed to capture the imagination of the public, the toys stopped selling. Reports from major retailers show that Star Wars and Marvel toy sales have dipped significantly. Kids aren't asking for the newest action figures because the stories aren't sticking. This cut off a massive stream of passive income that Disney relied on to balance their books. One of the most glaring symbols of this era of mismanagement was the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. It was billed as a revolutionary 2-day immersive hotel experience. The price tag? Over $5,000 for a single stay. It was a spectacular failure of market research. Disney believed their brand was so powerful they could charge luxury cruise prices for a hotel window that looked out onto a screen. Less than 18 months after opening, they shut it down. It was a wake-up call that even Disney fans have a limit. To cover these losses, Disney turned to their theme parks. In 2025, the company implemented an aggressive, dynamic pricing model. This means ticket prices can now spike in real time based on demand. While this has helped the experiences division rake in record operating income, it has come at a steep cost to the brand. Attendance at domestic parks has plateaued. When a trip to Disney World costs as much as a used car, the magic starts to feel like a cold, calculated transaction. Disney is betting they can make more money from fewer, wealthier guests. But in doing so, they are losing the middle-class families that built the empire. Disney spent the last decade buying up the world, but they forgot how to manage it. They prioritized scale over soul. Today, they are at a crossroads, preparing for the final exit of CEO Bob Iger in 2026. The succession battle is looming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Can a corporate giant reclaim the creative spark that started in a garage a century ago? Or is the Disney magic now just a myth? The answer will determine if Disney remains the king of entertainment, or becomes a relic of the past. What do you think? Has Disney lost its way? Let me know in the comments. I want to know if you've canceled your subscription or if the park prices have finally pushed you too far. Don't forget to like and subscribe to The Money Myth for more deep dives into the world's biggest financial stories. Thanks for watching.